Hello, this is Jason with Saltwater Solutions and Coral Collectors, and I've started feeding Reef-Roids to my reef tanks about a couple months ago, and I've been noticing some really good results using this food. So I wanted to share with everyone on how I feed. So the first step is to get a cup of water, and I'm going to get 2 cups of water. Okay, my actual aquarium water I'm using here. And I recommend feeding about 1/8 teaspoon for every 100 gallons about once a week. So this is a 1/4 teaspoon, and I'm going to use half of this. So this is 1/8 teaspoon, meant for about 100 gallons. And I like to do the direct feeding method where I use a turkey baster. That really gets the food to the corals you enjoy the most. So after a little bit of stir, we're going to come over here to our reef tank, and I recommend giving it 1 squirt with all your pumps running. And we're going to let that little squirt of food circulate around the tank, and the corals are going to sense the food's in there and start opening up for feeding. So I'll let that go for about 5 minutes and let the corals realize the food's in there, open up their feeding tentacles, and after that we can start feeding. So when we're ready to start feeding, I'd recommend turning off your pumps, and that's going to prevent the food from going to the filters. And we want to get the corals to eat as much as they can without the filters collecting the food. So after our pumps are off and our corals are starting to open up for feeding, I'm going to use my turkey baster, and I'm going to shoot it at some of my favorite corals. I got my pink Floyd over here, which I'm really trying to get growing, so I'm going to give him a good squirt. And I have some zoanthids down here I'm going to feed. Give them a good squirt. And we're going to go through and use this whole cup of food, squirting at as many corals as we can, with the pumps off, mind you. And we're going to let these corals eat it up and have a good meal. Okay, now after we've used the whole cup of food and the corals are feeding, I'd allow about 5 minutes for that food to settle and the corals to eat before we turn the pumps back on. After that time, I recommend setting a timer for this so you don't forget, by the way. We turn the pumps back on, and the corals are going to pick up a lot of that extra food that was left in there. And the filters will collect some of the rest, but at least we've given the corals the best chance to eat as much as they can. I would recommend doing this about once a week, depending on your coral load. And be careful not to overdo this, because this can really spike the waste levels.